Also streaming from that SuperTalk Mississippi app. Of course, you can always find us, too, on that local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station and always on your computer or mobile device over at SuperTalk TV. You know I like my NASA, and you know I love great stories that's coming out of Stennis Space Center. And we got a good one for you today. They got a family there that's building a generational legacy. We got 3 generations that have worked at NASA. And joining us is Dad Lee and his son Noah, who are the 2nd and the 3rd generation who call NASA home in terms of employment. But it all started with Lee English Sr. So welcome, Lee and Noah.
Well, thank you.
It's so good to have you guys here. I think this is such a cool story. Anytime you have that many generations just walking in the same professional path, I think it's really neat because there had to be a lot of influence, over the years to get the other ones to choose that route. So, Mr. Lee, I'm going to start with you because obviously it was your dad who kind of kicked off things with NASA Stennis there in terms of employment. What was his role there at the Stennis Space Center?
Well, when we originally came here, they were just starting up the shuttle program for the engines, and he was the stand manager for A1, which is one of the 3 test stands. And then before he retired, he was the manager over all the testing for all the test stands out here.
So looking back over your childhood, was it just normal to see rockets in the background or having Dad come home talking about cool space missions or, just sort of thinking about space exploration as just kind of being a normal thing? Or did you realize Dad had a really cool job?
Well, kind of both. I mean, I realized he had a really cool job, but, it was just kind of common stuff. When they really started this up, it was pretty big business around the Picayune area, so we had a lot of people all came out here at the same time at the beginning of the program. So it was just kind of common. It was still kind of neat, but it was pretty common for us.
Because your family moved from California to Mississippi. How old were you, Lee, when your family made that transition?
I was about 9 years old. I have older brothers and sisters. I had 2 brothers that were in high school and a sister that was in junior high, so it was kind of a culture shock for them, but I loved it myself.
Well, and you obviously took to what your dad was doing. At what point did you get inspired to say, hey, I'm going to go in Dad's footsteps, or maybe what's happening there at Stennis is pretty cool. I'd like to, be a part of that?
Well, originally my intention was to kind of get out of Mississippi, but after spending some time in the military, I got to realize how much I wanted to get back here and kind of follow in the family thing and get back and try to get out here at Stennis Space Center somehow or another.
So do you do something similar to what your dad did, Lee, or are you in a different area there at the Space Center?
No, and actually the building I'm calling you from right now is where he first started working at when we first moved out here. That's where me and my son Noah, we work on the A1 test stand where he originally was at.
That's really cool. Okay, Noah, did you grow up with your grandfather? Do you able to know that your grandfather worked at NASA?
He was retired by the time I was coming up, but my dad was out here. So during family days they had out here, and when you could bring people out to watch all the tests, we used to come out here all the time when I was younger, and it was just always something special to see.
Do you have a cool memory, Noah, of growing up and maybe being there with your dad? And it would be really neat if your grandfather got to come back too for those family days to kind of see, the fact that how much history's there and the neat stuff going on.
Oh, of course. It was just, when I grew up, it wasn't quite as common, I would say, as when my father was growing up. So it was always special to, tell people what my family has done and just come out here and experience it. It was really special.
Now, you guys both get the pleasure of being there when they test the engines. I'm sure you have a role in that in some way. What was it like the first time, not being far removed, just sort of visualizing it, kind of being more on the grounds and getting to feel it and hear it and see it and be a part of it?
It was definitely a lot different knowing that, I was a part of it now as well, and it was almost like a family tradition. It was really cool to be able to say that I've been a part of the same thing that my grandfather and my dad have also been a part of for many, many years.
Any of y'all get to push the button to make the engine come on? That is my desperate dream, is to get to push the button.
They don't let us push the button.
They keep telling me that too, Mr. Lee.
Not the start button. We get to push the other buttons, but not the start button.
Lee, did you try to talk Noah out of joining the family legacy, or, and I mean that jokingly, or were you shocked when he wanted to go in your footsteps of you and your dad?
No, absolutely didn't try to stop him at all. I mean, this is a wonderful place. If you can find you a good spot and find something you like to do, it's something you can do for your whole life. So it's a great place to be.
So explain to us, now do y'all both work in the same area? If not, you can just sort of describe the different areas, but kind of what does a day look like for you, Mr. Lee, there at Stennis Space Center? What are you doing on a daily basis?
Well, I'm on first shift and he's on second shift, but we are actually in the same building. I do electrical work. He does the mechanical side of it. So we interface a little bit, but as far as working side by side, it doesn't happen very often. I mean, it does happen, but not very often.
Now, Noah, you got fourth generation lined up to work there at Stennis Space Center?
Not yet. We'll definitely have to see in the future. It's possible, but no plans of it right now, at least.
No breaking news for Mom or Grandpa in that way, but you never know, right? Right, Grandpa? Now you're the Grandpa. Potential, one day. Sorry, now it feels weird.
Oh, no. I've got other grandkids, but he's my youngest, so I have other grandkids also.
Was Lee Sr. around to see you and Noah both choose careers there at Stennis Space Center? Or would he have been pleased?
He knew about it. When Noah had started on, he was kind of going down a little bit. He was living in Utah. He was living in the VA hospital. But he was very excited when I told him about it. But he never had the opportunity to come out here and see us both working at the same time out here.
Well, I think it's cool. I think it's neat that you guys all do that. I still think it's cool that the Stennis Space Center is just a well-kept gym. There's what we try to talk about as much as we can here on Good Things. And if people are listening, they've got kids who are interested in STEM or interested in space, what do you tell them about? You don't have to be the astronaut to get into the neat stuff. There's so many different jobs and careers that you can do that can land you at the Stennis Space Center or another NASA facility.
Yeah, I mean, we have everything from scientists to people that mow. I mean, there's something for everybody out here. More education you have, the more money you make, but there's jobs for everybody.
Good deal. Well, I appreciate your time. Okay, Noah, when you get that fourth generation to come alongside, you call back and you let us know, okay?
We'll definitely have to set something up.
I appreciate y'all's time, and kudos to your family.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Didn't mean to put the man on the spot there, but hey, that's me. That's what happens here on Good Things. But how cool is that? I wonder if any of you fell in line with what your family was doing. You can let us know, 601-879-4395. I think it's really cool, especially when you see like an ag, if you grew up with parents who ran farms and you're able to sort of pass that down. But then you see it in other acts of service. A lot of times military children will feel the call just as their parents did.